It's almost like being in nature, but instead of a lake and some wilderness, I get some fucking dead trees and a fucking puddle. Yeah. But I'll just pretend I'm in nature and not fucking Boston. Well, after seeing what happened up in Canada, the militant crackdown, the violence instituted by the government and the police against peaceful truckers, and just watching the death of democracy in Canada, it's really got me black-pilled on, whether or not that'll happen here. I still hold out hope that here, being that we are still a constitutional republic, which some people confuse with democracy, but for those of you who might not be aware, each state has its own individual rights under the Constitution, that the federal government has no authority of. And this was done very intentionally by our forefathers to keep one branch of government from doing what Trudeau's doing, essentially. Now, I don't know the intricacies of the, Canada, but they claim to have rights and freedoms and democracy. And what I saw over the course of this protest and culminating this weekend, I just watched a press conference from their one of the remaining leaders of the protest, just calling on all the truckers to leave, and apparently he put that request forward to law enforcement: just move and let us out and we'll leave. Doesn't mean everyone's going to leave, because additional protesters from all walks of life have joined the protest at this point, and rightfully so. And the answer from the police was, we'll run it up the chain. If I were a Canadian trucker in that situation, and I hope I'm never put in that situation, I would peacefully leave. I mean, if you stay there, they're just going to fucking continue to pound on you. And you did score a victory here. You not only shined a spotlight on Trudeau and his massively corrupt government, that is run pretty much by corporations, hence the definition of fascism, and the collusion with the mainstream media, and an overwhelming number of the population that believes every fucking word of it, you know? There's only one other thing to do at this point. So if I were a Canadian trucker in this particular situation where the government froze my bank account, threatened to arrest me, and did all kinds of heinous shit to, you know, as if the Constitution or your article or rights or whatever you guys got up there, as if it didn't exist, it's time to stop supporting that system. The people that are supporting the persecution of the truckers need to learn how important the truckers really are. And not just the truckers, but the farmers and the factory workers and anyone else who was of the working class. If even half or even a third of truckers and workers and farmers hung up their hat and said, okay, I'm done. Not fucking doing this anymore. Not going to drive the truck. Not going to plow the field. Not going to work for you anymore. I'll work for myself. I'll go make my own little garden somewhere. I'll go get a job doing something else. And even if they did that, you would see skyrocketing prices. You would see empty shelves, chaos. The whole country would fall apart through no violent means whatsoever. And I think the biggest reason they did this, the government, is they were probably pushed by their corporate constituents because of that whole $1 billion a day blockade of the border. And they were probably even pushed by corporations on our side of the border. Do something, motherfucker, or else. It's probably the message that Trudeau gave. I have a hard time believing he is just independently this stupid. He is getting scapegoated by the people, and this is my fucking tinfoil hat theory, you know. He's being scapegoated by the corporations who have been pulling his strings the whole time because of the border shutdown. But the border shutdown was resolved. But that's not good enough. They need to send a message so that this doesn't happen again. But I think they're so tone deaf, they don't understand that what they're doing is demonizing and destroying the lives of the very people they rely on for survival. Without truckers and without farmers and without the working class, your city doesn't exist. Your grocery stores would be empty within a matter of days. You know, your gas would run out. You wouldn't be able to drive your car anywhere. You wouldn't even be able to start your car unless you got like a Tesla. You know, and this could go on and on. You would see a breakdown of just about every system. You might even go without power. You might go without all kinds of shit. You wouldn't be able to build shit. You wouldn't be able to fix shit. You wouldn't be able to get parts to repair shit. You know, now would you be able to survive in that environment? Well, yeah, but it's not fun, and there probably would be a massive amount of death just from that. And I don't think the liberals, the ones that are labeling truckers as racist and misogynist, and I don't think they really understand how this works. Why you're able to have your comfortable life. It's because people like myself spend an inordinate amount of time in this box bringing you your shit. And we don't have to do it. Now granted, some of us are self-serving in when we do, and I think I'm more into that category now. You know, I do this on an as-needed basis. I don't give a fuck if you need me or not. But I've been doing it a long time. Take the average brand new driver. You know, 98% of whom quit their first job within the first 6 months. You know, what was it? 98% turnover in trucking companies. In most of them. This is not an easy life. We sacrifice life for finances, for families, for friends, for, to have that middle class life that was promised to everyone. Only we don't really get to live it out here. I even stopped in New Hampshire and took a 34-hour break, and I went shopping, and I bought a VR headset. I'm going to let Mark Zuckerberg control my mind. No, he's got a monopoly on fucking VR right now, so, and I can't exactly put any weird fucking stations or anything to do VR in a truck, whereas, Zuckerberg's fucking Quest does both things and, works with a laptop. Getting off the point. I went and participated. And what I noticed in New Hampshire, which is one of the more scared liberal areas in the Northeast, not as scared as Connecticut. Connecticut, literally, I just went to a truck stop in Connecticut. I'm on my way to Jersey. And it was like walking in the beginning of the pandemic in the truck stop. They had a sign on the door that said, masks are required if you're not vaccinated. So I was like, of course, walked right in without my mask, the way I've been doing the whole fucking time. There was maybe 2 other people in there that didn't have their mask on, and the people that did have their masks, a lot of them had N95 masks. A lot of them were, I was getting that vibe again, that everyone looking at you, everyone giving you the dirty look, like you're not doing what they're doing. What the fuck's wrong with you? Or you're putting them at risk. I even had one guy step like far away from me. And meanwhile, 100 miles away, there was maybe 2 people with a mask on, and everyone else had their shit off. And then going through the mall, it was like 3 out of every 10 were wearing a mask. And I'm not counting employees, because you're under the thumb of your boss at that point. I'm talking about the general population. And what I also noticed in New Hampshire is, even though they've lifted their mask mandates, their economy has not recovered. They were out of just about everything that I could find. I almost thought that I wouldn't be able to buy the VR headset that I got. But when I went to the restaurant, they didn't have ribeye, they had T-bone, so I had a T-bone. Consequently, I failed my 5-day fast. I made it 2 days, and then I started to feel, I don't know, I wouldn't call it shitty, but questionable. But I'll get into that at the end of the video. But my point is even if 30% of the truckers shut down, that would have ripples that could take years to repair, as we've already seen. The Great Resignation happened for a reason, and it's still going on to a degree. There's still a massive labor shortage in just about every market. There's still a massive trucker shortage, and demand has risen, but we're not getting enough truckers into the industry to fill the gap. So what happens when we start walking away? And this is a Canadian issue as well. What happens when your truckers walk away? You've taken their wealth, you've probably taken their insurance, you've taken their license. Who's going to step up and haul your shit? Are you going to get the military to step in and do it? Because that's probably what you're going to have to do at some point. And don't even get me started on the implications of that. But vote with your feet, vote with your dollars. I would also, if I was a Canadian trucker, I would pull all of my money and finances out into cash or into investments other than banks. I would not keep my funds in a bank, and quite frankly, even here in the United States, I'm got a keen eye for just how much of my assets are in the bank versus Bitcoin versus other investments. So I'll be looking at that with a pretty critical eye while I have time to. It's time to just walk away. And then if they change, if they apologize, if they start making life worth fucking working that 70-hour-a-week job for, they give you your freedoms back, they give you your rights back, which was never theirs to take, then maybe you consider going back to work. Maybe you consider getting back in a truck. And I know some people that this won't be feasible for. You got mouths to feed and whatnot, and maybe you were the sole breadwinner. Career change. Look at some other trade. Something that you can do. But you're going to suffer, obviously, as the supply chain, draws down. It's kind of, who's going to crack first situation. And there's a lot of truckers that can't afford to quit. They're leveraged up to their eyeballs in the money they pay on their rigs. So it's a catch-22, but if it were me and they did this to me and my people and my country and my, rights and freedoms, I wouldn't do anything for them ever again. I would survive by any means possible to where I didn't participate in their system at all. If it meant me putting on a backpack and walking around homeless in the woods, that's what I would do. I would not support a system that did this to its people. And take heed, Biden. Take heed, all you tyrannical fucking lefties that want to do this to us, that are supporting this. All you CRT motherfuckers, all you motherfuckers that are dividing this country, take heed that when you finally do succeed in alienating and rejecting people who don't think like you from society, it's going to have severe consequences. Society as you know it will not ever be the same. I'm not saying it'll be destroyed, but you'll have two sides. There'll probably be parallel economies and then conflict. You'd see this United States break apart, I think. If what happened in Canada happened with our federal government, I guarantee you would see a large number of states secede. And then who knows where that... look at that's happened in our past, not our first fucking rodeo there. I don't want any of that to happen. So maybe just take a step back, and I think they have. I think for the most part, they're letting up a bit, but you got to still keep... I don't trust them. I'm going to keep my eye on them. I'm out here in a truck again. I'm providing freight. I'm supporting the system for the time being, mainly to fulfill my own semi-retirement goals. And I also have the goal of planting roots in a state that will be on the side of freedom should the shit go down. I don't know if you have that option in Canada. Like I said, I don't know if your provinces, how divorced they are from the federal government in Canada. And I don't understand your system that well. It's my fault. And you would think after 3 years of running Canada, as in I've driven a truck to and from Canada across the border more times than I could fucking count, delivering freight in Canada and delivering Canadian freight here in the United States. So this does hit home to me for a little bit because I did spend a lot of time among you in Canada. And I don't know. I hope you guys straighten this shit out. But as I said, the protest has walked away for now. At least the convoy part of it. There might be offshoot protests that spring up as a result of this. It was a rough weekend for them. it looked like. And it will probably galvanize more people to stand up. You know, people who will be fed up with this. And I think there's going to be consequences. I just don't know if they're going to be good ones or bad ones. So, as for here in the United States, the People's Convoy has been announced. It's traveling across the country. Apparently has an itinerary of 300 miles a day, 10 days to cross the country. It looks like they're coming across, 30 or 40. I think it's starting out 30, and then they go up to 40. And then they get up to 70, and then, you know, they work their way through. I know they're passing through Indianapolis, so when they get to the Northeast, they'll be probably on I-70, and they'll probably take that all the way to D.C. from there. I don't know how big that's going to be. I do not see a lot of people talking about joining it or support for it. Because like I said, you know, most of the states have lifted their restrictions. So I don't know, you know, other than getting the federal restrictions eased, I don't know that we're going to see as a coherent a result as we've seen in Canada. And there's always the distinct possibility, because they're poking the bear, that the Biden administration will react the same way the Trudeau administration is. You got to understand, when you look at as a whole the coordination that happened among all these governments throughout the pandemic, and they were all doing the same fucking playbook, the same fucking things. Some would call that New World Order type shit. I myself think it's just simple corporate greed sponsoring our governments, essentially. I think money corrupts, and a lot of money gets tossed in these politicians' pockets. You know, that instead of serving the public, they serve the people giving them money. And when you add in what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, with the Clinton scandal, I'm just tired. Aren't you tired? Whatever your political leanings are, aren't you fucking tired of this shit yet? Don't you just want to go back to normal? I don't understand. What do you hope to accomplish if you're on the side of this? That is, if you're like cheering for Biden and you're cheering for these tyrannical governors that just want to keep locking you down harder, what do you hope to gain? Do you feel secure? Do you feel safe when you're not? You know, the cost of everything's gone up. Good luck buying a house. If you haven't got one yet, you're fucked. Good luck buying groceries. Good luck buying fucking gas. And let me tell you, if this thing with Russia explodes, and the price of diesel fuel, which is currently sitting at a hefty $4 a gallon. Now, to put that in perspective, I, on a good day in this truck, get 8 miles to the gallon. 8 miles to the gallon. Times 4 something a fucking gallon. If that skyrockets to $5, $6, $7 a gallon, do you think we're going to eat that? Do you think the corporations are going to eat that? You know who's going to eat that? When you walk into the fucking supermarket, or when you're at the pump, you're going to eat that shit. And I don't care what political side you're on, that's not something you want to eat. If you're lucky enough to be able to fucking eat. I just wish we could fucking wake up and snap out of this hyper-partisan stupidity and realize that at the end of the day, we all need each other. You know, I need you to go, if I'm driving this fucking thing, I need you to consume. I need you to go buy shit. You know, I may not agree with it philosophically, but I do understand that if you aren't going to the store and buying shit, then I'm going to do a whole lot of sitting and waiting out here and not making a lot of money. And corporations, I think, understand that to a degree as well. Although they only care if half of you buy shit, apparently. A lot of them. So, but at the same time, you also need me to bring you essential shit. Your food, your water, your bottled water. Because Lord knows them lead pipes are fucking people up. I mean, everything you can think of. Your fuel for your vehicles, that all comes on a truck. Your medical supplies, if you work in a manufacturing plant, all the parts that come in, all the raw materials if you make the parts. It's a system that works together, and it is driven on consumption. If you didn't consume, there would be less shit for me to haul. You would need less drivers. Maybe that's the way we're going. Maybe that's what the Great Reset wants to happen. They want everyone to be a minimalist, everyone to own nothing, and they're already succeeding in that as corporations are buying up all the houses and jacking the prices up so that they can charge you your exorbitant rents, which continue to fucking skyrocket. So like I said, if you haven't bought a house yet, you're probably going to be priced out of the market because hedge funds are buying houses. I heard an interview with a realtor where 80% of the people buying houses through this realtor were hedge funds. And hedge funds don't necessarily give a shit if they overpay, because they'll hold on to that motherfucker and charge 3 times the normal rent in an area. And then you see what happens like in New York City and Los Angeles and San Francisco and these corrupt, shitty fucking industry-driven towns owned by big tech, a lot of them, where it costs $700,000 for a house that would go for $50,000 in a small town, the same size, more land in the small town. $million homes, which previously should be the equivalent of a $100,000 home 10 years ago. I mean, unless you're very successful and wealthy with a hell of a good credit rating, it's not feasible. And even if you do manage to get your hands on one of these houses, you're going to be tethered and chained to that debt for generations. You won't be able to pay that off before you fucking die. So you'll probably hand it off to a relative and they'll sell off your equity and leave the debt paid, essentially. It's a really bleak picture. So I wish we could turn it around. I really do. I hope people are waking up. I hope we get to a point where people are just like, enough is enough, and it doesn't matter what your political fucking leanings are at this point. Just open your fucking eyes and realize if we continue, if nothing else, no matter who you blame, whether you're a righty, a lefty, or a libertarian like myself, no matter who you blame, it is unquestionably, if we do not change the direction we are going, things are going to deteriorate and get bad and collapse at some point. We got to stop. And, if you don't think it can happen in the United States, no one in Canada thought what just happened could happen. So take Canada, if you're in the United States, take that as a warning. Because a lot of the things Trudeau is doing is being done by Biden. It's being done by members of Congress, being done by governors and mayors across this country. And I think that the conservatives are doing a better job, but as far as maintaining the Constitution, from my point of view, but there's a lot of corrupt on their side. Just different corporations paying their bills in a lot of cases. Establishment on either side is bad. I want populists. I want somebody that is for the people, that is looking out for us, not the corporations, not the lobbyists, not big pharma, not big tech. I want somebody that's looking out for the people that elected them. And that doesn't mean doing every little thing that those people want, by the way. It's doing what they need. All right? Instead of stroking them off, hoping to get reelected, let's stop caring about that. Let's have term limits on Congress. I'm all for that. We shouldn't see the same fucking crusty motherfucker become a multi-millionaire after years of destroying and spending our money hand over fist and giving it to corporations in other countries instead of taking care of its own people. You know, they should have to do their time and get out like everybody else. You know, instead you get Nancy Pelosi, you know, eating your ice cream in Florida, the freest, you know, one of the freest states. Don't worry, Florida. I think you got enough lefties from New York coming down there. You won't be free for long. Same thing for Texas. You got enough Californians coming in there. You ain't gonna hold down to that freedom forever, because nobody has learned that it doesn't work. They all think it's the other guy's fault, and they'll vote right down the little check boxes they usually do. If you don't believe me, just look at the Gavin Newsom recall. That told me everything I needed to know about where we're at. I hope I'm wrong. I hope there's a turnaround and that we start holding individual politicians accountable for their actions instead of mindlessly following them down party lines and doing what you're told, when intuitively, if you'll step out of your tribalism for a minute, you'll see that it's detrimental to your way of life and the lives of your future generations, who are already mortgaged to the hilt with your debt that will never be able to be repaid in their lifetime. And from the time they pop out of the womb till the time they die in the nursing home, with somebody like Cuomo at the helm, you know, they're still not going to pay off the debt that we're accruing right now. And I don't know. This is my last plea before I'm just like, okay, you know, I got to do what I need to do to survive, and I'm not going to give a fuck anymore after that, you know, about any of this, because I can't do anything about it. You know, if things happen here like happens in Canada, I will jump out of this truck. I will make virtually no money. I'll live under the poverty line so I don't have to pay the taxes. You know, I'll sign up for every government fucking check that they'll give me. I'll get fucking food stamps. I'll do all of that shit. Whatever it takes to survive and not support the system. I'll be a parasite on it. I look at it as getting my fucking money back, because I'm not getting what I paid for when I pay fucking taxes. And Lord knows they're taking a lot of that out of me right now. So, you know, that's my thoughts. You know, what the fuck do I know? I'm not an expert. I'm just an asshole. I will say, you know, as for me, like I said, I am now starting tomorrow alternate day fast. That'll be my first fast day. I'll be alternate day fasting. I'm not worried about being a strict keto at first. I will try to be keto as often as possible, but some days I just don't want to cook. And I don't want to just eat like beef jerky and nuts when I don't cook. It's not satisfying. So, you know, if I'm going to sit in a restaurant, I'm going to eat everything I pay for, because Lord knows that's expensive. And, you know, that'll be that. Yeah, we'll see where I'm at with that. Probably a mistake health-wise. I don't know. I just know, you know, there's no way I'm able to cook every day out here with the amount of work I've been doing. So, you know, even now I'm pulled over But I have to go to bed soon because I gotta get up at 3 in the morning so that I can get to the place in Jersey I need to get to without encountering a traffic jam near New York City. Yay. So, but yeah, I went up to Maine, took some time off in New Hampshire, and came back down through Connecticut, and now I'm in New York right now, state, not city. And I'm gonna head down to Jersey tomorrow and hopefully get another load after that. So I just wish this shit would resolve itself. Well, if you like my shit, you want me to make more shit, smash that fucking like button and shit. And subscribe if you're not subscribed, to replace all the motherfuckers that keep getting attritioned off of me because Susan doesn't advertise my shit to anybody anymore, and I'm too lazy to do it myself at this point. If you want to not watch the channel slowly die, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend, share some fucking shit with people. Share the video if I resonated with something that you agree with or something, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe you want to point me out on Twitter and tell everybody I'm a piece of shit. I don't know. But any little bit of traffic helps, I guess, in the algorithm. Sign up for my free email list at ScottTheTruckDriver.com and leave a tip in the virtual tip jar if you want to support my channel. Even though I'm running ads again and I got a job, it doesn't mean I couldn't do with a little compensation for the time I spend working on these videos. So there's that. But I don't know. I hope things get I'm tired of it. I really am. I really hope we're done with this crisis mode shit. Let's get things rebuilt. Let's get things going again and reassess after that. Let's get the inflation down a bit. Let's get the economy moving. Let's get back to work, and try and let's salvage our freedom. As for the People's Convoy, I hope they are successful. I hope a lot of owner-operators do show up for it, and I hope they inspire others to join in. But like I said, given the comfort level of people and the fact that there's a bunch of states that are essentially free. I mean, I've been there. They looked like business as usual when I was there. Nobody was telling me shit. Nobody fucked with me. I liked it. And people were just living their lives. And at the end of the day, if you let us do that, none of this fucking shit would be a shit. If you just minded your own fucking business and minded your own fucking yard and didn't worry about what the fuck I was doing, the world would be a better fucking place, wouldn't it? Wouldn't we just be free again? To live our lives, to fuck up, to get better, to improve things. But no, we all want to control what the guy down the street's doing. I wouldn't give a shit what you were doing, whether you're a liberal or a conservative or a libertarian. I wouldn't care if you didn't fuck with me. If nobody fucked with me. If all of my hardships were of my own making. Essentially. If I could take personal responsibility, something that's alien to some members of society at this point, for every circumstance of my life. Once again, instead of saying, well, the only reason that's a problem is because of this stupid shit we're doing every fucking day, motherfucking, and fuck Trudeau, fuck him, fuck everybody that's like him, fuck anybody that votes for somebody like that. If you support him and you're demonizing the truckers, fuck you.